Ready, start. Lula da Silva's victory in this year's Brazilian presidential election marks a significant political shift not only in Brazil, which spent the past 3 years under the leadership of the far right Bolsonaro administration, but on the global geopolitical stage. In 2009, as then president of the Brazil, Lula took a leading role in the foundation of BRICS, a group of emerging economic economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, challenging the dominance of Western capital when the returns to office. Lula's economic and foreign policy approaches are likely once again to challenge the United States' global political economy dominance. But we can expect some nuance some nuance to Lula's approach too. He appears uninterested in entangling Brazil and BRICS in the standoff between the United States and China, currently shaping up in the form of a trade war. Instead, Lula is likely to pursue a sovereign third path in the vein of the 20th century's non-aligned movement, a group of nations that pledged fealty to neither the United States nor the Soviet Union during the Cold War. We will not accept a new Cold War between the United States and China, Lula said in his October 30 victory speech. We will have relations with everyone. The global free market is currently in crisis and in bracing for more. This has created windows of opportunity for so called third world economies and outdated metric that typically denotes the level of a country's development during the Cold War to become key players in the global power struggle. A great deal of ink has been spilled about China's challenge via its Belt and Road Initiative to the United States economic dominance. But that focus has glossed over the political significance of other emergent economies in the global south that haven't picked a dog in the fight between the two global superpowers in a major departure from the 20th century structural adjustment programs that brought the global south to heel. Many countries in the global south now demand occasions from Western investors rather than the other way around. India and Indonesia have recently secured favorable deals with competing foreign investors drawn to their rapidly growing consumer and financial markets. In those deals, they have been able to stipulate state capitalist projects that prioritize their national economic interests focused on hard infrastructure and renewable independent energy sources. Meanwhile, the Gulf states in the Middle East, long economically competitive thanks to vast amounts of oil but invariable tethered, tethered to the US petrodollar, have begun to shift toward neoliberal financialization in a bid to eventually decouple from Western capital's ebbs and flows. It is crucial to stress that a large chunk of these governments' newfound authority rests on political authoritarianism, authoritarianism and economic exploitation at home, while mounting a necessary challenge to Western capital. They are hardly stands still. They are growing comfort with conditioning and even deviating from Western political economic interests is an important development in the geopolitical landscape that Lula and BRICS are set to re-enter. And not all of the nations challenging Western imperatives are capitalist dictatorships like Saudi Arabia. Latin American countries have seen a wave of leftist presidential candidates win democratic elections in recent years. Lula's victory in Brazil, the continent's largest economy and the world's strength, is only the latest development in this decade-long trend dubbed the pink tide. The people of Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and others have elected politicians campaigning on policies prioritizing national economic and environmental interest over Western political and financial ones. Lula is currently courting Argentinian President Alberto Fernandez to join BRICS. The Global South's relative neutrality on Russia's invasion of Ukraine is telling of these economic shifts. Leading economies including India, Indonesia, Brazil, South Africa, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates have refused to compromise their economic interest to punish Russia. An even grimmer omen for the United States and its Western allies is that transactional American and European corporations are threatening to leave their nations behind for greener, more profitable pastures offered by their political adversaries and fair weather friends. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues to escalate, its implications may accelerate this break from Western capitals' monopoly of the global free market. The West's attempt to isolate Russia through economic sanctions backfired. More importantly, the sanctions are pushing Russia closer to China economically and politically. These conditions have led China and Russia to accelerate long standing plans to decouple from the US dollar as the de facto universal currency for trade, encouraging other nations to follow suit. At its 2022 summit in Uzbekistan, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO), a Eurasian economic alliance spearheaded by Russia and China that Iran is set to join in the near future, finalized a roadmap toward trading in member states' respective national currencies, calling for other countries to drop the dollar and adopt similar measures. Lula's statement that Brazil will not accept a new Cold War and will instead look to establish relations with everyone suggests that his incoming administration will confidently chart an independent path. Bollywood star Shah Rukh Khan has found a pride of place in the list of 50 greatest actors of all time prepared by prominent British magazine Empire. Khan is the only Indian actor to feature in the magazine's list, which also recognizes Hollywood giants like Marlon Brando and Meryl Streep. While Khan's choice is totally on the parameters of merit set by the magazine's editors, it still leaves an empty feeling. This has nothing against Shah Rukh Khan, the iconic actor who deserves to be among the top performers in the world, but the list could have easily made a place for superstar Amitabh Bachchan, the Shahanshah of Bollywood, surpasses all imperative attached to stardom and fan base. He is still the biggest star in the film industry with a global fan following. If the British magazine can pick Shah Rukh Khan on the basis of 4 decades of near unbroken hits and a fan base of pretty much billions than it could have first selected. The Big B had the selectors craned up a bit. Bachchan's over 5 decade stint in film industry is still going strong with an amazing mastery over his craft. The charisma Bachchan has brought to Bollywood is still unmatched. His omission is quite perplexing. Stop.